Good evening. Hello, good evening. Please confirm that you can hear me. Hello, can you hear me, please? Hello, please, can you hear me? I have been speaking, but I'm unsure whether or not you can hear me clearly. If you're speaking, your microphone is muted. Hello, can you hear me, please?
Hello, Coach.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you? Please let me know that you can see me and hear me clearly.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can see you.
Okay, I can't hear you.
Whoa. Can you? So I've unmuted. I've muted and unmuted myself. Is it fine now, please?
Still can't hear you. Maybe it's my earpiece, so let me better remove it. Okay. Okay. Can you speak?
Hi, good evening, ma'am. Can you hear me now, please?
Out this earpiece.
Can you hear me
Yes,
now, please?
Okay.
Is it fine now?
Let me check if they can hear you on Facebook and LinkedIn because I don't know why I can't hear you though.
Oh, okay.
But let me see. Let me watch to see if I can hear. Okay. Think Okay, Coach, please, can you just say something? Let me see if
Hey,
I
hello,
can hear you.
everyone. Good evening from Lagos, Nigeria. Please let me know whether you can hear me.
Okay.
I
Can't
have
hear you
been
here too.
speaking.
Okay, Coach, please, can you just say something? Let me see.
Hey, hello, everyone.
Okay.
Good evening from Lagos, Nigeria. Please let me know whether you can hear me.
Okay.
I have.
Can't hear you here.
But can you hear me now?
Coach, please, can you
Aside the
just say
playback you're
something?
watching, please.
Okay. So it's giving that feedback vibe. So um, I'm gonna connect myself.
Should I
here.
exit and rejoin?
Okay, but they can hear you. They can hear you on Instagram. They can hear you on LinkedIn. They can hear you on Facebook. Yes.
Okay. So do we continue or how would you like us to have it?
So okay, Coach, please go on. The audio is very clear. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. And good evening. Thanks for having me again. I also want to say a special good evening to every member of the community. I took some time to go through the website and I think it was the Instagram page. I know that it takes some level of commitment to self to decide that you're going to be a part of a community and go through trainings to ensure that you have better results in your career and in life in general. I just want to say hello to you and let you know that I celebrate your commitment to your growth and improvement as an individual. I have now begun to share my screen. I would love for you to confirm that you can see it so that we start in earnest, please.
Yes, we can. We can see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're talking about speaking with confidence and clarity. This is one of my favorite things to talk about because speaking is one of those things that has always come naturally to me. And I personally believe that public speaking is a life skill that everyone who desires success in life and in career must have. I say this with all sense of responsibility because I know that the world that we live in is one wherein you must communicate. You can't do life by yourself. You have to interact with different individuals in the workplace, in different circles. Communication is what makes every relationship work. And at the heart of that is being able to properly share what is on your mind, which takes me to the next quote that I have here on the screen. It says, "It matters not the brilliance of your ideas if you cannot express them with confidence in a manner, pardon me, that should be manner, not matter, in a manner that your audience can understand." So it matters not how brilliant your ideas are, even if you have the most grand ideas that can make $1 billion in the shortest possible time. If you cannot stand before an audience or communicate or share that idea confidently to your audience, and not just sharing it confidently in a way that they can understand, then your idea really is dead on arrival. And you really, it doesn't matter even if you did not have such a brilliant idea. This just goes to show us that public speaking is something you must take seriously. Public speaking is something that everybody must work on, especially if you decide success and I are best of friends. I'm going to be a success in my life, in my career, in everything that you do. So you must take it seriously to be able to hone your public speaking skill so that anywhere you get to in the world, you can express yourself. And by expressing yourself, you can then get the desired result. So I'm going to do a quick survey and I'm going to ask us each, and I'm going to count on you now to help me with this so that I can get the feedback from everyone. I want you to share with me one person, just put in the comment section, one person that you consider as very successful. One person that you consider as very successful and why you consider that person as very successful. So please just put that in the comment section. Someone you consider as successful and why you consider that person as successful. I'm going to be holding on to see your comments at this point. One person you consider as successful and why you consider that person as successful. I'll wait 1 or 2 minutes because I want to be able to see your comments and hear your thoughts. Please, do we have comments yet?
Yes, Sharon Chimelu is responding from LinkedIn, and she says Indra Nooyi, that's the former CEO of Pepsi. She says she considers her successful because she has been able to share tips on how she balances her work and her life.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other comments?
Okay, checking other platforms.
Thank you.
No other comments.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll just go with that. Interesting to note that I happened to find out about Indra Nooyi because she granted some interviews and had some public speaking engagements. That's how I got to find out about her. This is a woman that is obviously very successful in her career. She's a woman of first in a male-dominated industry, which tourism is, and she topped it. She's also a great public speaker. I ask this question because most times people that we consider successful, we might not even realize it, are people that also put themselves out there. They express their thoughts with the world. They share their brilliant ideas, and they have used public speaking as a tool to be able to scale in their career, to be able to climb up that career ladder. So I asked because it will be very likely that by the time you reel out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names of people you consider successful, you'd find out that all of them might actually be great public speakers. So let's move on from there. We've definitely been able to establish that you want to have success in life and career. Public speaking is a skill that you must take seriously. So let's get into it. When I talk to people about public speaking, I say that speaking is not just using words, it's not just coming up with sentences to express yourself, express your ideas. The origin of speaking is actually the mind. That's where it starts and that is where it ends. And I'll explain that process to you to help you understand why I believe your mind is the most powerful tool you would have if you're going to be a great public speaker. And indeed, if you're going to learn to speak with confidence and with clarity, you must take your mind very, very seriously if that's something that you're going to do. So I say to people that speaking starts and ends in the mind. It starts and ends in the mind. For anyone to be a great speaker, there is something that they have done. They have fed their minds with brilliant ideas. And in doing so, they have also gotten to the point where they can now use their thoughts, refine their thoughts, and communicate their thoughts with an audience. So I say to people that if you want to be a great public speaker, you must take care of your mind. You must take care of your mind. It starts with preparing your mind. And I'm glad that a good number of people filled the Q&A form that I sent out to say, just let me hear your questions. What are the things you possibly want me to address? almost all the questions I saw spoke about public speaking anxiety. Anxiety is a thing of the mind. So you would agree with me that when it comes to speaking, you must take your mind seriously. So mental preparedness is the foundation of any successful public speaking that you're going to have as an individual. If your mind is not in the right frame of mind to speak, you're going to struggle throughout the experience. People that are listening to you are also going to struggle to understand what exactly you're saying. So we know that we have 26 letters of the alphabet. And ideally, as a public speaker, you take your audience on a journey. You start from A, using that analogy, and you should end at letter Z. But if your mind is not well prepared, instead of A, B, C, D, E, you would find out that you start from A, move to E, go to K, go back to B, then Y, and it's all just going to be mumbled up. You as a speaker would find that when you realize my train of thoughts, I'm losing it. I can't seem to properly express what is in my mind. You begin to lose your confidence. Sometimes even you begin to stutter and stammer because you realize I'm messing up. I'm not doing this well. And the people that are listening to you, on the other hand, you lose their interest. That's when you see people look away from you as a speaker. They no longer give you their attention and their mind is just focused on different places. It's so bad that in the world that we live in now, they possibly would begin to fiddle with their phones, their devices, do all sorts, instead of paying keen attention to you. And as a speaker, you don't want that to happen. You don't want that to be your experience. So you must go into every public speaking exchange with your mind prepared. Public speaking, yes, you as a speaker have to be prepared in your mind, but it's a two-way street. I'm speaking now and you're in the audience right now. If you're not in the mental space to hear me and listen to me, you will miss out on things that I've said. So it might not even be a case of me not being a great speaker. It might be a case of you coming into that conversation or as a listener in the presentation, coming in distracted and unready to actually listen. So it's two things. There has to be mental preparedness for you, the speaker. There also has to be mental preparedness for your audience. But we are going to focus on you as a speaker and take you through how to ensure that you have preparedness, that you're mentally ready to take on any conversation in the workplace and in general. The first thing I say is there must be a message. There must be a message. If you get up and you just want to start talking, you don't know what you want to say, you don't have any particular thing you're trying to address, it's going to be a mess. Good public speakers always have a message, and what they are then trying to do is to package the message in a way that the audience can understand it, just like I said in that quote, and it can make meaning to them. So there must be a message. And for there to be a message, it means that as a speaker, you would have thoughts that you want to share. That's the building block, the basic building block. You have thoughts you desire to share. And with those thoughts, I would always advise that you write them down. That's the beginning of mental preparedness. So you have a topic, you have a presentation to make at work, or you have something, you have a message, you have something you want to share with someone. To ensure the utmost level of clarity, I always advise that you have a brain dump. Now, I'm saying this because so many times there's never just one way to address a topic. There's never just one way to pass across a message. You can pass across the same message in various ways, but it's your decision now how to make that happen. So to do that and to do it with clarity, take notes, brain dump every idea you have concerning this topic, concerning what you want to say, put it down on paper. What that does for you as a speaker is it helps to excavate your mind. You look at things from all the possible angles. And in doing that, you can then see a bigger picture of the message you want to pass across. So you write your thoughts around it. Every thought that comes to mind about the topic you want to share, you write down. Let me say this. Most of the time, we think, oh, it's not just to talk, it's not just to speak. Speaking is hard work. It's not just about coming up to say I'm speaking on a particular topic. There is a process to it which I'm taking you through. And you must be prepared. Mental work, I dare say, is more tedious than physical work. So it takes a lot for you to tax your brain and take it on this journey where you are pouring out your ideas about this message. You must be ready to put in the work if you want to come out as an excellent and amiable public speaker. So write. Everything about this topic, write it. Once you've done that, it's time for you to refine your message. Remember, I said there's hardly any message that you can pass across in only one way. There are always multiple ways to pass across a message. So you decide, how am I going to say this thing? How am I going to pass this message across? Different ways you can do that. One way that should greatly influence how you pass your message across is who you're speaking to. As a speaker, it's not just about you. You achieve clarity when whoever your audience is properly understands your message. First thing, who's your audience? Or rather, second thing. So first thing I've said, do a brain dump in preparing your mind. Second thing, who's your audience? If I want to speak to children, for instance, about public speaking, there's a way I will say all the big grammar, all the big words in quotes that I've used, I definitely can't use that with children. I will get questions. They will ask me why I don't understand. So with each audience, you must understand that there's a way to speak to each audience. Now it gets more interesting because sometimes with presentations, you are now speaking to audiences that have specializations. You might be speaking to an audience of adults, you might be speaking to an audience of women, but if you are speaking to women in tech, it's different. If you are speaking to women in engineering, it's different. If you're speaking to women in law, it's different. So every audience has its nuances. It has a way that it will be easy for them to listen to you and to hear you. These are the things that you put in mind, at the back of your mind, when you are crafting your message. The third thing I'll say is, yes, you've put together the message. Second, you're aware of your audience. Third, make your message make sense. How do I mean? What's your introduction? What's the core of the message? And how do you want to end? Where am I starting? What's the route I'm going to pass? Where's the destination? For every audience, we love to have things clearly stated to us. No audience likes it. I'm sure, okay, let me give this example. It's like feeding rice versus feeding spaghetti. You know that when you eat a meal like spaghetti or noodles, when you're turning the fork, it's like an endless journey. You're going on and on and on and on and on, trying to find the longest piece before you then lift it into your mouth. But if you don't do that and you just lift it into your mouth, it's going to be You're going to keep on slurping, and you might get some food in your face. It doesn't look pretty at the end of the day. It's the same way if, as a speaker, you just go on and on and on without clearly showing your audience these are the different stops on our journey. Whenever we get into vehicles from one destination to another,
Hello, coach. Hi, coach.
apologies, please confirm that you can see me and hear me now.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So I was saying, when we go on a journey, when you enter into a car, for instance, and you go from destination A to destination B, there are always bus stops along the way. Every journey has stops along the way. So I want you to have that at the back of your mind every time you decide, I'm going to speak. If I enter a car, if I go on a trip, and there are stops along the way where people can alight, that means that whenever I get to speak, there must be stops along the way, landmarks that my audience must be able to say, oh, she spoke about A, he spoke about B, and be able to call to remembrance what I have said. What helps you do that is having a clear introduction, a clear body, the core message, and then the conclusion. In the body, you can have a number of points that you want to pass across. So I say for easy, for the easiest possible way to deliver a good speech or presentation, have 3 points. Anything more than that, it might be harder to pull off at the initial stage. But for the easiest possible way, have 3 points. 3 key talking points that are the core themes of your message that you are passing across. So point 1, point 2, point 3. It's easy for you as a speaker to remember, easy for you as a speaker to explain, and it helps your audience quickly say, oh, this is landmark 1, landmark 2, landmark 3. These are the things that so person spoke about. I can remember, I can act on it, it can change my behavior, it can change my thinking, because guess what? If an exchange ends right there and then, it really hasn't had so much value. If in the next 2 hours you can't remember what we had in this training, something has not been done quite well. So you want to speak in a way that it's easy for your audience to pick out your points, remember. That's when you know that truly you are speaking with clarity. So break down that's your message that was in your brain dump. Arrange it properly. What point should I share first? What should be the next points that will build on this? What's the third point that will further reinforce the first 2 points? And then I top it up with a great conclusion. So introduction, body, conclusion. In the body, about 3 great points that are easy to remember, and your audience would easily understand what you're talking about. So you see that when you open your mouth to speak, a lot of groundwork has gone on. You've done research. So many things have gone on to ensure that eventually when you speak, it's a great experience for you and the audience. The last thing you must do for yourself, mental preparedness, is to ensure that you practice. So many people spoke to me about stage fright. One of the things that that can cause stage fright is that lack of preparedness. When you know in your heart, when you have that feeling in your heart that I'm not ready, I don't think I'm prepared enough for this. You have set the stage to experience stage fright. But if you take that process of preparation that I've just taken you through, you go through those steps, and after you have put together a solid speech or presentation, you begin to practice. Say it to yourself, say it to your friends, say it to your family, record it over and over again, stand in front of the mirror to see how your gesticulations are coming across. Then you have hit that place that would help you say it with clarity and most times even with confidence. Because by that time, you are sure of what you are saying. If you forget a part, it's easy to recollect because you've done this over and over again. So your delivery even will become more natural. Now let's talk about mental blocks. There are things in the mind that make it hard for you to show up well as a speaker. And there are also things in the mind that make it hard for your audience to listen to you well as people in the audience. Let's start with you as a speaker. The first thing that happens is if you've had negative experiences in the past. You see, our minds are so powerful that it connects to our emotions. If you've had a negative experience before in the past where you tried to speak before an audience, you forgot what you wanted to say, or you didn't say it well, and people laughed at you, joked at you, made fun of you, or started even calling you funny names, or you walked out in embarrassment, that mental picture, you're going to do a lot to remove it from your mind. Because every time you want to speak, your mind will say to you, hey, this was the experience, this was the result from speaking. Don't try speaking again so you don't experience that shame, so you don't experience that embarrassment, so you are no longer afraid. So that's what happens. If you've had a negative experience in the past, you must work to recover from it. Another mental block can be you speaking in a place that you've never spoken before. So you're just anxious because it's a new audience, people you're unfamiliar with. One thing you can do to overcome this is to do research, find out who they are, what are the kinds of things they like, what can you find as common ground between you and them, and use that to help you in your preparation as the speaker. Now, a few mental blocks that your audience might have. The first one, we had touched on it when I spoke earlier about the fact that sometimes, sadly, the audience comes into the public speaking exchange and they are just plain distracted. They're hungry, they have something else on their mind, social media is doing the most, and so they can't concentrate. That's a mental block. No matter how good you are as a speaker, if someone is not listening, there really isn't anything you can do about it, which is sad. So do as much as you can first as a speaker to ensure that people are present, listening to you when you have to address them. The second mental block that people in the audience often experience is when they have strong opinions on the topic. Now, please just put in the comment section if you have any questions, any comments. I've set aside a few minutes towards the end for us to tackle your questions and give you the answers you desire. When people have a strong opinion on a topic, there's not much you can do as a speaker. It's like coming to talk about political issues or coming to talk about religious issues or gender issues. When people have strong opinions, those kinds of hot topics, sensitive conversations, no matter the preparedness you have as a speaker, you have your work cut out for you. So understand that sometimes it's not about you as a speaker, It's about the fact that your audience was not in the place where they could receive your message, no matter how clearly you were speaking, no matter how clearly what you said was said. Let's move on to the second part of the presentation, which is on speaking with confidence. But before we do, I'm going to take a break. Please let me know if we've had any comments, ma'am, as I shared in the last couple of minutes. Do we have any comments on what I've shared so far on speaking with clarity before we move to speaking with confidence? Please let me know. I'll be waiting. I'll wait for 1 minute to see if we have any comments. Do we have any comments, please?
Checking all platforms now. I've not seen any feedback yet. I've also asked the admins to check other platforms too. No feedback yet. Okay, there is one question here from Olufumilayo Lawal. And she says, she's asking, how best can one deal with mental blocks, especially when there is low engagement or reception to one's message?
I'm noting that
Okay.
to talk about at the end of the session.
Okay. Let's check for more.
Thank you. So I'll move on right now to speaking with confidence.
Okay, we have
Aside the mind, do we have any more questions or comments, please?
Yes, please. We do.
Okay.
Okay, this is from Adenike. Adenike is asking, how do you deal with stage fright or anxiety that comes with having to talk unprepared, like when you're put on a spot or something?
Okay. 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 Thank you. So I've noted those two. Speaking with confidence. So far, I have glorified, if you let me put it that way, the power of your mind in a public speaking and communication exchange. However, the mind is not the only part. Imagine if it was just the mind, there was no voice, there was no body, there was no mouth to convey the message. It really is not a complete package, right? So let's talk about the other parts of your body that help you convey confidence in your public speaking. Let's talk about the voice. This voice that God has given to us is another powerful tool that public speakers must learn to use. I'm sure we've all had friends in primary or secondary school, or possibly it was even us. The teacher asks a question, you know the answer, but the way you say it, if your teacher is not paying keen attention, they'll assume you are wrong because You're not speaking up. You're probably saying it in a whisper. You're probably even just bowing your head as you speak. And in a Nigerian school, for instance, the teacher is almost a borderline bully and saying, yes, speak up, speak loud, speak clearly, I can't hear you. In that instance, you had the correct answer, but you did not communicate it with confidence. Have you noticed as well on the flip side that so many times people are out there saying absolute rubbish with the utmost confidence? And people are clapping, applauding, like, yes, keep going. Yes, sir. Yes, ma. Until you take a minute to try and digest the message and what they're saying before you realize, hello, that was just hogwash. That made no sense. And you would agree with me that a lot of times this happens with politicians and campaigning and what have you. People say a lot of nonsense. But because they say it with such bravado and confidence, you think, yes, they must know what they're saying. What that teaches us is how you say what you say is possibly the only way to convey confidence, to know that you actually know what you are saying. So if you see the first point on my screen, it says what you say versus how you say. It's the how, really, that conveys confidence. Now let's talk about the voice. I have this formula I like to call the PTP, the pitch, the tone, and the pace. Sadly, a lot of people speak flat, so we can't tell the words to pay attention to. People speak without putting emphasis on their words. And so you can't even tell what to pay attention to because everything, it's almost robot-like talk at the same level. Nothing is higher than the other. It's just talk, 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 talk at a certain level. And so it's hard for your audience to make meaning of what you're saying. That's for pitch. Tone. What emotions are you conveying? With your voice, you can convey emotion. It's the reason someone will shout at you and the other becomes scared or angry. Or someone will speak to you in a nice manner and you almost feel like hugging the person almost immediately after. Not so much as what they've said, but how they have said it. Tone, pace. Some people speak so slowly. Most times, when people speak that slowly, the audience tunes off and is turned off because it conveys a lack of confidence or understanding of the message that is being passed across. So, is your voice helping you to convey confidence whenever you speak? How you say what you say versus what you want to say. Back to that quote I said at the start of the class, it matters not the brilliance of your ideas. If you can't communicate that brilliant idea in a way that your voice arrests the audience, makes them want to sit back and listen, you might as well keep quiet. The second thing that you must pay attention to is your body language. A lot of us are not able to still speak and look people in the eye when we speak to them. I know that generally it's an African thing to be respectful, more so when you are women and it feels like as if it's only women that must have this respect thing shoved down our throats, or like men, oh, you're a girl, you're a woman, there's a way you must comport yourself. But hello, without confidence, not much can be done. So there's a way that you must learn to carry yourself when you speak to convey confidence. And I dare say it starts off with your appearance. I know that everybody on this call in this class would say yes to this. On days that you dress up, you look at yourself in the mirror, you love your appearance, you love what you see. That day, you are walking, like we say it in Nigerian parlance, with shoulder pad, which basically means there's gait, there's confidence in your gait. You know you look good, and it does something to boost your level of confidence. So I'll say this to you as a challenge that on the days that you have to, speak, or in fact, not just on special days, to be honest, on every day, try your best to look your best. Try your best to look your best. It brings a certain confidence into the way you carry yourself, the way you relate with people, so that when you eventually have that opportunity to speak with them and engage with them, it's with a certain level of confidence. You must learn to be able to maintain eye contact with people when you speak to them. I don't think it's a mark of honor or respect for you to speak to people and have your eyes down low. What it is, especially in the career space, is that it conveys a total lack of confidence. So especially if you're speaking to a boss, a senior, a manager, they're not going to take you seriously. And if no one takes you seriously, there is no acceleration career-wise. So it's a vicious cycle. To stop that, look people in the eye when you speak to them. Use the appropriate tone of voice to match your message. Are you saying something serious? Are you saying something they should pay attention to? Raise your voice where necessary so that they listen. Look them in the eye, have a pleasant disposition on your face. So when I say look people in the eye, most times we want to be straight-faced and serious, and you can have that look and still look pleasant. So you approach someone with a smile, you confidently say what you want to say, look them in the eye, have that conversation, and end the presentation with confidence. How you look, your outfit, your appearance, your body language. Some of us, we approach people to speak to them, and our hands are at the back, or we're playing with our hands, playing with our fingers, or we're sitting and we're slouched, we're not sitting up. Nobody's going to take you seriously in that position. And even when you speak in that position, it will not convey the outlook of confidence. So these are a few things you must take note of if you want to speak with confidence. Your voice must convey confidence. Your body language, your look must convey confidence. So many times, you and I judge people based on what they look like when we see them. We don't even wait to hear if what they have to say to us is important or of value. We look at them and we say, nah, I can't possibly be listening to this person. On the flip side, someone else walks in looking good, and we know, yes, I have to pay attention. This person looks like as if they would have something valuable to say, to share. Why not make that? Why not make that? Thank you very much for your attention. In the last 40 minutes, I'm going to go ahead now to take your questions and your comments. I know that we already have some questions that have been shared with me. I will take maybe one or two more aside the ones that have been shared with me. I had also shared a link before, and most of the questions that had come had to do with overcoming fear, anxiety, and speaking before an audience. A few tips I'll give you on that. Prepare. Do your research and rehearse. It's 2 in 1. Do your research and rehearse. Do your research and rehearse. Prepare in that light. The second thing I'll say to you is give it your best shot. So many times we're looking for perfection. Hardly ever is any public speaking exchange perfect. Is rare. And you have 100% perfection is rare. But can you have something good? Very possible. Very, very possible. Prepare. Don't look to be perfect, but look to give it your best. And the third thing I'll say is keep looking out for opportunities to speak. That's the only way that you would eventually become more comfortable with speaking. Why? With speaking, especially if it's something that doesn't come naturally to you, if you do it once in a while, you would not get into that sweet and comfortable spot where you not find it easy to talk, to speak to people. If you don't do that, it's like a start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. You're going to be shortchanging yourself. So seek out opportunities to speak. Continue to seek out opportunities to speak. I say to people that being in classes with me, being in trainings with me is not the way to learn public speaking. How to learn public speaking is to take the things that I teach you as tools and then begin to put them to practice. That's how to learn to speak in public. So prepare, practice, forget about perfectionism, and lastly, continue to speak. Continue to speak. Eventually, as you continue to speak, you realize you get better at it. And for those that had negative experiences in the past, as you get better at it, you will get positive feedback that would then counter the place of the negative feedback you had received with your past experiences. So something is good the second time, the third time, the fourth time, you enjoy it, you will stop running from it. You will start running to it. And you won't have that. You won't experience that if you stop speaking. We have a good number of questions. Sadly, I have just 5 minutes more. I know that this session is supposed to be for an hour. I'm going to take those 2 questions that were earlier on read out because I've taken time to take the questions that have been on the link that I had sent. Let me know, how would you like us to resolve this? We have just 5 minutes more. I have 2 questions right here, and I know that there are questions in the chat.
Okay, Coach. We can take them. We can take them just for
Okay, we
few
can
minutes.
take all the questions. Okay, so I'll make my responses as quick and as brief as possible.
Thank you.
Dealing with mental blocks, thank you, ma'am. Dealing with mental blocks, especially when there is no reception or engagement to your message. I'm a realistic person. I'm going to let you know that there's always a time and a place for conversations, which is essentially what public speaking is. You might have to go back to the drawing table and refine the mode of presentation of that message. You're speaking, it feels like the audience is uninterested, they're not listening. It's not by force. It's torturing yourself and torturing them. It's very fine to say, can we reschedule? Can we do this some other time? Because to be quite honest, not every public speaking engagement is going to go 100% beautiful. We have those that will be learning curves for us, where we sit back and say, oh, what did I do there? How could I have shown up better? What? And in some cases, it's not about you. It's about the audience not being in the right frame of mind to receive your message. So can you reschedule? If possible, make that happen. That's what I'll say to you. And in rescheduling, you don't come and do the same presentation method, the same way you were saying it the first time that got you no results. You don't come and do copy and paste. No. Be innovative. ask yourself questions, do research, ask people in the audience, how would you best receive this message? How would you like it presented to you? And then do it. And then do it. The second question I had from earlier on spoke about talking when you are unprepared, impromptu speech. Funny, this is one of the things that I love to do the most. I love to have all those impromptu presentations where someone just calls me and says, "Oh, Dami, speak on A, B, C, and D." I absolutely love doing it because I see it as a challenge. People, on the other hand, would see it as an opportunity for embarrassment. They are putting me on the spot. Recognize that the response I've just given starts from the place of mindset. How are you saying those times when you are called upon to speak, when you think you're not prepared? Notice I said think, because in reality, if we're being intentional about how we live, about life, you find out that everything every day is preparing you for something. You might not just be aware that you were in a preparatory phase, to put it that way. So if you'll be more conscious about the fact that there's something to learn from every conversation, from every experience, you realize you are not as unprepared as you thought you were. That's the first key. Realizing that you are not completely clueless. Because most times the anxiety from impromptu presentations is the thought of, oh my God, I'm clueless. Oh my God, I'm unprepared. What do I say? I don't know what to say. But realizing that you can reach into the recesses of your mind and bring out information to answer in that situation would boost your confidence and even help you show up better in your response. So what do? Someone has put you on the spot. Take a moment, take a breather. There are a few ways you can do this. I say it depends on the situation. Sometimes I outrightly ask for time or give me moments to think through this and give you a response. Or if it's in a situation where I can't outrightly ask for that, I ask the person to say it again, ask the question again, throw it at me again, so that I can be clear and give a proper response. In listening again, I have started forming my response. So you must be able to think on your feet. In thinking on your feet, what powers that is you being someone that is knowledgeable. You are reading, you are researching, you are learning from all your experiences. So you must be a lifelong learner to be a great public speaker, because you can never tell when you would need to draw from experience A to speak before audience K, right? So that intentionality with which you live day to day is something that you must do for yourself. Let me see a few more questions in the comment section. Okay, I've answered the first one. Storytelling, absolutely important. How important is storytelling in public speaking? Can a speaker effectively tell stories while speaking? Or how can a speaker effectively tell stories while speaking? Storytelling is one of the most beautiful things to do when you speak. Why? It bypasses the logical part of the brain. It moves straight to the emotional part of the brain, and it helps your audience easily connect with you. So when you tell stories, so speaking generally, the ways you are memorable as a speaker is either because you give facts and figures, so people have information, they have knowledge, they have data, right? Or on the other hand, there were emotions that you conveyed. And most times, facts and figures, information, data, logic, it's the long cut, it's the long route. When we begin to talk about emotions, it's the shortcut. So you convey emotions through storytelling in public speaking. So storytelling is very important. How can you make storytelling work for you? Tell stories that are relevant. Keep your stories straight to the point. The stories don't always have to be real. They could be made up. And if they are real, please ensure that you are telling those stories with the permission of the people who had those experiences that you are now recounting or retelling. Keep it short and simple. To tell stories well, you and words must be best of friends. What do I mean? You must be able to describe things in detail. Because what storytelling does and what makes it effective is that you can paint pictures in the mind of your audience. If it's too direct, if it's too straightforward, you won't be a great storyteller. But if you can do those descriptions, paint pictures with beautiful words, people will love to listen to you and they will stay hooked and glued to you as a speaker. What books can I recommend that can further enhance your public speaking skills? There are a good number of books on public speaking, to be honest. Even you just doing a a search online or on YouTube will give you tons of resources. And so I'm not going to recommend, I'm going to ask that you do that research. But beyond that research, like I said earlier on, you must speak. See, public speaking is that skill that if you don't do it, you really don't know it. So it's in the doing that we can tell whether or not you know it. It's not about the number of books, number of videos, all of that knowledge, if not applied for a skill as practical as public speaking, amounts to nothing. So please do your research. There are tons of books. There are some classics. I have some even around me here, but I'm not going to recommend them. I'm going to say you read, you research, but beyond the reading, the research, the tutorials and YouTube videos, actually speak. That is how you become a great public speaker. Thank you very, very much for your time. I believe I have answered all the questions in the comment section now.
Wow, 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 wow. What a time we had. So, so good. Everything that we learned today has been, this is more like a master class. And I was saying this to our mentees that this is just, a tip of the iceberg. We are coming for bigger, bigger lessons. But, at the end of today's session, I just changed my mind and said, you know what? We should make our next training more practical, in a way that, we're not just talking and talking and talking, and you ladies go back and you're not able to put in practice what you've learned. So we need to do some, you know, whether physical or online training, where you actually come up and make a presentation, you know.
Totally agree.
Yes, yes.
I wish we had more time. I would actually have done that.
Yes, yes. So we're going to plan for that. Hopefully, our next training will be. I'm hoping that it will be physical, so that you can actually stand on a stage, look people in the eyes, and make a good speech or make a great speech. And it's possible. It's possible. When I was sharing with coach my concern, I told her that one of the reasons why I want her on board and I want her to help us in girls in tourism, it's because of what I had observed over time. Many of you here, and I'm not even mincing words, you lack confidence, and it's not a good thing for a lady, and it's not also a good thing for a career professional. You're going to step into the tourism industry, a world filled with different kinds of people. You will meet different kinds of guests from different countries, different tribes. You know how our industry is so big. And if you're not able to build that confidence and apply it in the workplace, I mean, it will be so difficult for you. Many of you are also in the middle of negotiating your salaries and you feel,
Mm,
timidity has already gotten the best of you. You can't even
mm,
speak up to defend, your values, to defend your worth, to defend your skill sets and your expertise. And you let them cheat you
mm,
on the job. So these are the little things that we really want to address. I know that you may feel that you may be thinking, oh, I am not Tony Robbins, I'm not Mel Robbins, all the big names that you see out there. But the truth of the matter is that anywhere you find yourself, has said, you have to learn how to speak with confidence so that people can value you, respect you, and even listen to what you have to say. So, I'm going to take this as a very, very serious aspect of our growth and learning, our learning platform. And I am hoping that by the end of, 2 or 3 trainings, we'll begin to raise confident girls in the tourism industry. I'm so happy today. In fact, I've been anticipating this day. If you ask Coach Dami, I've always been on her DMs in the middle of the night, dropping messages because I know she is a very busy person. So I had to steal her this weekend to, come and share with us what she has. And it was just what we wanted to hear. Simple, impactful, powerful. That's what we like. Thank you so much. Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
And
Thank you
we
so much
really
for having me.
appreciate you coming on board to help
Thank
us
you.
because this is a very huge help. I'm also learning myself. So thank you so much. We look forward
Thank
to
you.
having further trainings with you. Like we said, we want to have a physical workshop where we actually practice what you've taught us, and we know that that will work. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you so much.
yes, and we will send our the ladies are okay. The ladies are thanking on the other platforms. I'll send you all the thank you messages. and all right, ladies, thank you too for joining in. Have a great weekend and see you on Monday on the community group. Thank you so much, Coach Dami. Bye. Thank you.